Hey there, folks. Pac here. So I just want to make a quick comment on this Forbes article, which, surprise, surprise, is about yet another problem in this generation's console era. Are you guys ready for a 70s style crash yet? That whole Atari crash? I'm ready for it. How about you? Because honestly, these game developers of this era, not game developers, but the systems designers and the publishers, I should say, are totally out of whack with what needs to be done these days, and they just keep making mistake after mistake. First, it was Xbox TV, Xbox TV, Xbox TV, Xbox TV. I still love that video, and I still Google it very often. And then there was the PS4, PS3, PS4 debacle of like the PS3 not being reverse compatible, and now the PS4 having like no games. I'm not even talking about the Xbox having no games because they're about TV. It's all about TV, right? TV. So they pretty much had this horrible plan coming out to this generation. Horrible scheduling for all their releases, and there's been no such thing as a killer app. I mean, the next one coming out is probably going to be Bloodborne for the PS4, which From Software, you're retarded for not releasing that shit on PC because the console market is going to die and die hard. Pretty much the only console maker that has any kind of concept of what's going on is Nintendo. And yes, I know people are going to bash me for saying Nintendo is the best console because it's the least powerful and it has the most gimmicky thing. Yes, but at least they're trying to make something for gamers. They're trying to do something for gamers. They tried something interesting and it failed spectacularly, but it failed. And hopefully the NX system, which will probably be the last console, I'm calling it, that's gonna be the last console iteration right there. That's gonna be their last system, and it's gonna be something to be mobile, something like the Ouya probably. I'm gonna call that right now. But the other two developers will probably just slowly step away, just walk away from gaming because it's about that time. We are due for that 70s era Atari crash because it's untenable. The situation's untenable. We have better PC gaming experiences now. We have cheaper PCs, and I don't know why Steam's getting into this right now. They shouldn't bother getting into it. They should just make their extender and let people build systems. And pretty much every video card comes with an HDMI port, and if you want to have a computer in your living room, you can stick one in there. And you can game in your big TV. I mean, I used to do it. It's not hard. You can do it. So, it's one of those concepts where I think the console era is dead and probably should remain dead unless they can go back to doing what consoles did, which is offer a unique experience, something that is different from what you can get from PC gaming. This high-end, high-fidelity gaming that you used to see on, PC games, Crysis and whatnot. They're trying to bring it down to an affordable model for a console, which just doesn't work. You're either going to have an extremely short game or an extremely expensive piece of hardware, one or the other. So the Forbes article also talks about the size of the games, which is the new problem. You see, the new hard drives they have, the 500 gig hard drives, which just blows my mind. In the era of terabyte hard drives, you're putting a 500 gig into a system? No, it should be at least a terabyte. Should have been at least double the size because you have to understand that on a standard hard drive, you can have a hard drive. Like my computer has a hard drive just for games. It or a partition for just for games. And I could actually put another hard drive in just for games. Or in fact, there's 2 more hard drives for just for games. And the fact is, I can put in 3 hard drives just for games. Because I have 4 SATA ports where I can hook into to put in, 3 terabyte drives worth of hard drive space just for games. Just for the high texture, high res, amazing graphic games. I could do that if I really wanted to. But I can't do that on a console. Yes, there's going to be these upgrades that are coming. You can change your hard drive. But I remember changing out my Xbox hard drive and how expensive that was because it was a special form factor and you had to have that special drive thing. But, of course, if you were smart, like me, and you just bought the hard drive, you could actually just unscrew it and pull out the old hard drive, put in the new hard drive, and slap it together with a little bit of work online when downloading a few things. But the official solution, which the products that are being offered either by third parties authorized by these companies or just in general that would work with this, you can eventually cobble together something, but it's not going to be as good as an actual in-system solution. So, yeah, I don't own new systems. I don't know if you absolutely have to install new games, but the fact is that most games are between 20 and 50 gigabytes. Okay? These hard drives are less than 500 because, per Google, you only get 362 gigabytes for gigabytes for the Xbox One hard drive because of the operating system and reserve space by Microsoft. So, if you do your math, you're in the teens of how many games you can actually get. Not very many games can fit on an Xbox One hard drive. So, and of course, PlayStation 4 is going to be very similar. It's going to be very comparable in the size. So, it leads you to think that, yes, in this age of all digital, no physical media, all installed on the hard drive, it's not going to work. Consoles have reached the point where they simply are not going to be feasible or affordable for the average consumer. They're already horribly overpriced for what they actually are. I mean, all of these systems, you could build a better computer for around the same price that would play at about the same level as these consoles do. And the great part is, you'd also have a computer to do other things, like watch YouTube and, check into your Facebook, see Twitter, do tons of other things that your console can't do unless you download a specialized app, which takes up more of your hard drive room, which then you have to deal with a clunky interface that doesn't really work as well as a mouse and keyboard would. I mean, there are so many more advantages to a PC in terms of gaming now than it was in the console. Because in the console era, back in the old days, back when I was a wee little lad, the idea of console gaming, the concept of console gaming was you had local multiplayer, which you had your buddies all sit in the same room. It was easy on, easy off. You just slap a cartridge in and go. I mean, everything was much simpler, and the console market has been trying to ape what PCs did. Online multiplayer and also the kind of stuff. They tried to pull in all these features from outside of the console's purview and cram them into a console cheaply enough that the mass market will have it. But we're at the point where computers are cheaper than consoles when it comes to one-for-one performance. We're at the point where consoles aren't doing what they used to do. They aren't providing you a unique experience. Everything you can pretty much almost exclusively can find on PC. Like, those things you can find only on PC that eventually trickle down to the consoles are the better experiences, like Darkest Dungeon and Hand of Fate. I know I keep using these examples over and over again, but they're really good games and really good concepts for games. You've got tons of indie games that can just be made easily and cheaply, and you buy for like $3, $2-3, and then you have like Square Enix offering, the 15th re-release of Final Fantasy 1 or something like that for like $20 on the App Store or some ridiculous amount. I mean, it's like we're in that space where we do need that crash to basically do a full reset again, to get back to where we were in the days of when the Atari fell. Because when Atari fell, it was just tons of shovelware, tons of crap being thrown in the system. There was a new system and then another new system, and it's just they were just grasping at straws to try and keep their market, which is exactly what I'm seeing now. We had one of the longest console cycles in forever, in ever. Like, that was the PS3 and Xbox 360, where that was the longest console generation that's ever occurred. And you want to know why? Because we've reached that limit where, the consoles just aren't going to last as long in comparison to the technology that's coming out and is advancing constantly. They're not going to last if you try to compete with the PC market. Consoles were best when they offered a unique experience to the player and to the consumer, and that's not happening anymore. They're nothing but gimped out PCs. They're nothing but weak PCs. They're nothing but a money-making machine for these companies to try and charge you more money than what a game's actually worth, to give you a physical copy that you then install fully on your hard drive, that you then wind up filling and can't own all the games you actually own anymore. It's ridiculous. So, I guess PC Master Race for life, bitches.